is my place, and I am welcome.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is so wonderful to be back here with you guys at Unity of York Region and to share in the love of God. Let's begin. Click. What if I told you that there was a winning system that, when used properly, would bring you more freedom and peace in your life? Would you like that? What if I told you that this winning system doesn't cost you a penny, and in fact, you don't pay anything at all, and it is free to use whenever you need it? You don't need to worry about a place, a time. It's whenever you need it. And the other part is that you don't need anybody to help you with it. You can do it all by yourself. Sounds good so far? You're probably wondering now, what's the catch? Well, the catch is that you're going to have a willingness to change. And that takes courage. A willingness to break the limiting beliefs that you have held in mind and to free yourself to a life of abundance and prosperity. So that kind of system, that courage, that willingness is also going to need a little bit of love. And you're probably wondering, what's love got to do with it? Well, to be honest, that's a great title for a talk, isn't it? To be honest, love has everything to do with it, because God is love, and God is everywhere present. So love must be everywhere present, because love is an extension of the God force energy. We are made of love. It is a powerful force. People are made out of love. The water you drink, the air that you breathe, the situations and the experiences that you see around you are all composed of the life force energy of God's love. It's an awesome power. And God's love loves you unconditionally. So you're probably wondering, what's this winning system? Well, I'll give you a hint. This winning system starts with the letter F. Can you guess it? Well, it's forgiveness. Forgiveness is the key to freedom and peace, and it starts with you. Now I'm starting to hear some voices in the back going, oh no, not the forgiveness talk. And I appreciate that forgiveness is not an easy subject for us to talk about. In fact, I sometimes call it the other F word. In fact, I was really close to entitling this talk today, the other F word, but decided against it. Because we don't like forgiveness, do we? It's difficult. It's something that is really just too hard for us to manage sometimes, isn't it? Because we like to be stuck in our narrative. Now, the two people on the call, there's two types of people who are going to be on the call today. The first kind of person is going to say, you know what? I've done my forgiveness work. I have healed everybody. I've cried. I've gotten angry. I am done with it. I've healed everybody and I'm good. And I'm happy for you. There'll be another group of people who say, not forgiveness. I'm not dealing with that. That person in my life, they were mean, they were horrible, they were stupid, whatever the story is. And then, they're going to pay for it. And I appreciate the anger and the resentment that they're experiencing right now. But let me offer this up to you.
Jackie,
yes?
Jackie, your camera is not on.
My camera is not on. Okay, interesting. Live. Okay. How's that?
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you again for letting me know. Technology, folks. Where was I? Oh, yes, forgiveness. So, unforgiveness places you in a superior role. That is to say that you are better than everybody else. And the world that we're living in right now is one of awakening. Awakening to our inherent power and presence, awakening to our infinite creative intelligence. And God loves us all the same, no matter what path we're on. And when we go through the experience of unforgiveness, that places us in a place of superiority that thinks that we're better than. And we're not, because we are living in a state of equanimity. No one is better or less than anyone else. We need to level the playing field here. God loves us all the same. And forgiveness allows us the freedom and the experience to do that. Rumi said that the wound is the place where the light enters you. In unforgiveness, we carry a wound within us that just won't heal. It's sore and it's painful. And when we open ourselves up to the Christ presence, then we allow that light, that power, that wisdom to heal that part of us that may be sore and painful. It's like having a magic wand. And when you open yourselves up to the awesome power of God's magnificence, allowing God to work through this experience, be willing to change, having the courage to do so, and backed up with God's love, the forgiveness part is guaranteed. And then you magically shine a little bit brighter, right? You can't help but do that. So let me ask you this. How does an insignificant piece of carbon, of coal, turn into a beautiful diamond? Well, it's done by heat, it's done by pressure, and it's done by allowing, right? We are like this diamond in production. We are transforming ourselves right now through the heat and the pressure of life experiences. And when we allow ourselves to release the thoughts of anger and forgiveness and offer the forgiveness, then we are releasing the bonds that have held us back. And then we live life exceptionally well. Surrendering to change is huge. You see, resentment and anger hold you back because they're really just emotions that bind you and hook you to the events that cause your suffering, keeping them alive inside of you, draining your life force of light. Your peace can only come through forgiveness when you release all that binds you to the negativity. Now we know that the act of forgiveness is not ignoring the hurts, the pains, and the actions that have happened in the past. They happened, it's reality. However, in forgiveness, what we're saying is that this experience, this person, is not going to have their power over us anymore, over you anymore. You're choosing to let it go, hand it back over to God, and live freely, sovereignly in your power. Because when you let them off the hook, you are releasing yourself and you can continue on your own sacred journey of wholeness. In Psalms 31:24, it states, "Be strong and let your heart take courage, all who wait for the Lord." I love this picture. Because as a human body, as we live in this bloody, bony body, we need to strengthen. If we want strong muscles, we need to pump it up. We need to exercise, right? If you want a strong spiritual body, then you need to take time every day for prayer and forgiveness, releasing the negativity that's been holding you back. When you choose to forgive, you will now find a more loving relationship with yourself. When people were asked whom it was that they found the most difficult to forgive. They responded that the most difficult people to forgive were themselves. The forgiveness of self. That was the toughest because it keeps coming back in our minds, right? Makes sense, really, doesn't it, when you start thinking about it? The next thing that they found difficult to forgive was forgiveness of others. That makes sense. The third thing was forgiveness of past traumas, like the Holocaust, right? And this is the time right now, folks. This is the season of Lent, a time where we can harness the energy of Lent to break through the negativity and the blocks and the limiting beliefs that we have held in mind so that we can rise higher in consciousness to become more aware, more compassionate, and more loving. Forgiveness is the key to freedom. Forgiveness is the key to freedom. Did you know that there have been scientists who studied people who did forgive? And this is what they discovered, that when people chose to forgive, the benefits were astronomical. Here are some of the benefits. So you're able to jump higher. You're able to jump higher, which is incredible. You're able to feel less like a victim. You feel more empowered. You feel more stronger about yourself. You feel in love with yourself more. You feel more compassionate then for other people. And you live your life then with more compassion and understanding and forgiveness. Forgiveness also leads to more healing in your life. Your wounds heal faster. Your aches and pains start to clear up miraculously because you're not holding that wound anymore. It also improves your manifesting power. Now, here's a story I'd like to share. It was a couple of weeks ago when I was going for my daily walk, and it occurred to me that all through my entire life, in fact, starting in my childhood, I was told and I believed that I had inherited my father's traits, my father's looks, my father's way of speaking. And I loved my father. So that almost seemed natural. The funny thing was, or the most interesting thing was, that it came also in that realization that I inherited my mother's contempt for my father. That was the big aha moment for me. That as much as I loved my father and inherited his traits, I also believed my mother's feelings for my father. And if she felt that way for my father, then obviously in some way, she must feel that way for me. This was a huge realization in self-discovery and self-love. So when that light bulb went off, folks, yes, I stopped at that moment in my walk and I chose to clear that negative belief about the lack of self-love for myself. It was nobody else's fault except myself. It was a belief that I took on and I accepted that and I released it and I turned to God and I said, I'm ready to release this one. Help me move through this one. I forgive myself and I move on. And so I did, because God sees everyone with love. You find your freedom through forgiveness. So what were the steps that I took in order to clear that forgiveness? Well, the first thing I did was that there was an awareness. I had this thought that, oh, this needs to be changed. Number two was the willingness to change. I said, okay, I'm ready to make that change. I had the courage and the capacity and the wherewithal to say, yep, I'm ready to change. Because I wanted to have that open resolution, that open, loving resolution with myself, right? And with God. I did not want to be a slave to the memory anymore. I wanted to cut the cord and see myself as more powerful and not to be dragged down by the imperfections that I had held in mind. Then I had a dialogue with my little self and with God. And I just talked and I got it off my chest. I shared my feelings and then I asked for help, because I of myself can't do everything. You need the power and presence of God to fulfill this. So as soon as I did that, I did step 4, and I did the Ho'oponopono prayer, which is very simple. I am sorry. I'm sorry for the beliefs that I've held in mind. Forgive me for doing this. Thank you, and I love you. Very simple prayer. And with God on my side, I knew that I would not fail. So let me tell you the story about Corrie ten Boom. She's such an inspiration. I do admire her tenacity. She was a woman, a Dutch Christian woman, who loved God and held Bible studies in her home with her family. And she was so I said she was a Dutch Christian woman, and she was arrested. Oh, she was living in the Second World War, and she was arrested by the Nazis, along with the rest of her family, for hiding Jews in their home during the Holocaust. She was sent to Ravensbrück concentration camp along with her beloved sister Betsy, who died before Corrie's own release on December 31st, 1944. Corrie was inspired by Betsy's example of selfless love and of God's commitment for truth and wholeness and healing. Betsy loved everything and everyone, and Corrie learned a lot from her before her passing. After the extreme cruelty and the extreme persecution that they had felt, the war was over, and Corrie then decided that she would travel widely to people and talk about God's forgiveness and the need for reconciliation. Her own principles were tested when, by chance, she came face to face with one of her former tormentors in 1947. The following description is what she said happened. I'll read it to you. It's in her words. It was in church in Munich that I saw him, a balding, heavy-set man in a gray overcoat, a brown felt hat clutched between his hands. People were filing out of the basement room where I had just spoken. It was 1947, and I had come from Holland to defeat Germany with the message that God forgives. And that's when I saw him working his way forward against the others. One moment I saw the overcoat with the brown hat, the next a blue uniform and a visored cap with its skull and crossbones. It came back with a rush, the huge room with its harsh overhead lights, the pathetic pile of dresses and shoes in the center of the floor, the shame of walking naked past this man. I could see my sister's frail form ahead of me, ribs sharp beneath the parchment skin. My sister Betsy, how thin you were. Betsy and I had been arrested for concealing Jews in our home during the Nazi occupation of Holland. This man had been a guard at Ravensbrück concentration camp, where we were sent. You mentioned Ravensbrück in your talk, he was saying. I was a guard there. No, he did not remember me. But since that time, he went on, I have become a Christian. I know that God has forgiven me for the cruel things I did there, but I would like to hear it from your lips as well. Fraulein, his hand came out. Will you forgive me? And I stood there. I, whose sins had every day to be forgiven and could not. Betsy had died in that place. Could he erase her slow, terrible death simply for the asking? It could not have been many seconds that he stood there, hand held out. But to me, it seemed hours as I wrestled with the most difficult thing I ever had to do. For I had to do that. I knew that. The message that God forgives has a prior condition, that we forgive those who have injured us. And still I stood there with the coldness clutching my heart. But forgiveness is not an emotion. I knew that too. Forgiveness is an act of the will, and the will can function regardless of the temperature of the heart. Jesus, help me, I prayed silently. I can lift my hand. I can do that much. You supply the feeling. And so, woodenly, mechanically, I thrust my hand into the one outstretched to me. And as I did, an incredible thing took place. The current started in my shoulder, raced down my arm, sprang into our joined hands. And then this healing warmth seemed to flood my whole being, bringing tears to my eyes. I forgive you, brother, I cried with all my heart. Wow, what an act of forgiveness. For a long moment, we grasped each other's hands, the former guard and the former prisoner. I had never known God's love so intensely as I did then. Pain is when you forget to put on loving glasses. Choose the power of Lent today to look at and to move, help you to move through the negativity, the beliefs that you've held in mind. Because you've got that spiritual power inside of you. You've got what it takes to heal the wounded parts and to become bright and whole like that shiny diamond. And you might even too just jump a little bit higher. I'd like to end with a little reading from this beautiful booklet, Release and Renew. And for today, on Sunday, written by Reverend Mark Anthony Lord, he wraps up his message on that page saying this: freedom through forgiveness is only a thought away. Our part is to say yes to it and let it perform the miracle in the right and perfect way, in the right and perfect time. Forgiveness, when called upon, washes away every story, every hurt, every fear, every belief in separation. It is the most transcendent and transcending spiritual practice I know of. Thank you very much.
I am willing to open my heart. I am willing to be the change I wish to see. And I know that it's all love, 'cause I am willing to listen to the still small voice in me. I am willing to open my mind. I am to open my life. I am willing to be the change I wish to see. And I know I can trust, as I am willing to listen to the still small voice in me. Yes, I am willing to listen to the still small voice in me.
Please join with me in meditation. Let yourself sit comfortably and allow your eyes to close and your breath to be natural and easy. Breathing in and now allow your body and your mind to relax. Breathing out. Letting go of all outer concerns of the day and tuning in to that beautiful heart space within. I call this God. And as we breathe in and out, let yourself feel the barriers that you've erected because you may have not forgiven yourself, not forgiven others. And know there's perhaps a sense of pain of keeping your heart closed. And making the intention now to open your heart anew. Breathing softly. Begin the forgiveness practice. And as we breathe in together, imagine someone you love dearly in front of you, someone who is easy to love. And hold them in your heart and feel the tingles, feel the loving experience that you share with them. And feel the love that you share with them expand out into the cosmos, shining light into all directions. Breathing in, being aware of breathing in, breathing out, being aware of breathing out. And now, when you're ready, let that go and allow a new vision to appear in front of your eyes with your eyes closed. And see the vision of someone who might be not as easy to forgive. Someone who might have done something wrong in your mind. Just feel that and experience that oneness with them. Knowing that they did the best that they could at the time, knowing what they knew, feeling what they were feeling, knowingly or unknowingly. And as you picture and remember them, allow yourself to see and feel the pain that's been caused. As you envision this person, mentally whisper his or her name And then repeat these words. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And in this quiet moment, just experience the release. And if it feels right for you, silently say to yourself or out loud, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Stay tender as you witness whatever arises within you. Letting it be, letting it move you, letting it move through you. Remember, forgiveness cannot be forced or artificial. You simply continue the practice and let the words and images work gradually in their own way. Be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. And so we take this moment now to say thank you for this blessed experience. Breathing in and out, bringing our awareness to the room, and allowing our hearts to breathe, relax, and trust that we have done good work today. And so it is. Breathe, relax, and know that all is well. And so it is. Amen.